No. This is something I have to face. Myself.
Solo round.
Hello everyone, welcome to 2FAST2MOVIE. I'm your host Kenny, and with my co-host Jose Quintana. So, we did it. We're here.
We managed.
We're at 2 months. Yeah, we finished. Wandavision is finished. So, Jose, after this long-ish journey, so now we've come out of WandaVision, do you feel like a new man? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a lot of experiences throughout these past few weeks, and I feel completely changed, totally.
Good, glad to hear it. Yes. Yeah, this episode. What did you think about it? Just opening thoughts, you know?
I think it was everything I kind of wanted in a finale, and what we expected, which we had some hits. I think we called it a little bit. Probably little misses, I think, because it's hard for me to remember, but we got it pretty close.
Yeah, definite. Some theories stuck, yes, and some miss a lot. But yeah, I generally liked this episode, and I walked away pretty okay with it. But before we delve in further into that, if you like what you see here, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We upload new videos every week, and our friends Abe and Ben are covering Attack on Titans on their segment of 2FAST2MOVIE, and they're also wrapping up as well. So be sure to check them out for their finale after you watch this. And as always, spoilers ahead for the whole season of WandaVision. Well, if you're watching this, I'm assuming that you've watched all of WandaVision already. So, yeah, in this episode, we pick up right where we left off last week, as, you know, Wanda goes toe-to-toe with Agatha, and while Antivision enters the Hex, Vision enters to fight his double. And more military was able to breach the Hex as well. And in a very Incredibles moment, Wanda and her family work together to fight them all off. And definitely one of my favorite scenes, just the family just together. And yeah, I gotta love it. And yeah, and they don't do it alone, with the help of Monica and Darcy inside the Hex, playing their small parts, and Jimmy on the outside, bringing in the authorities. Him being the FBI, and hopefully, maybe we'll see him next time in a bigger role. I'm really hoping. And during this whole big finale fight sequence, Vision's battle with himself concludes with an interesting philosophical debate, and Vision and Antivision were able to sort of level with each other, and Red Vision was able to give Antivision, or White Vision, his memories back, and he sort of flies off with his fate unknown. But while with Wanda, was able to fight Agatha off in a sort of toe-to-toe, first a telepathic fight, and then a physical fight where it seemed that Agatha was draining all of Wanda's powers. But Wanda was able to defeat Agatha with a rune spell of her own that she learned from Agatha in the previous episode, which is very akin to the comics, as, you know, Agatha was sort of a mentor type figure to Wanda, and seeing Wanda learn from her is, pretty awesome. And in that moment, we finally see the Scarlet Witch the Scarlet Witch outfit that we've been wanting to see since she appeared in Age of Ultron. Um, and yeah, it concludes with Wanda imprisoning Agatha in Westview if she ever needs her in the future. And thank God, because I want to see more Agatha in the future. And please, I want to see more. And yeah, in the end, in a very bittersweet conclusion, Wanda chooses to do the right thing and release the town of Westview and release the Hex. And she had to say goodbye to her children and Vision, which I think was just a very well done sequence. Got me very teary-eyed and just feeling what she felt. And with that, Wanda is now fully the Scarlet Witch, and she sort of leaves Westview into whatever journey holds for her next. So yeah, just very low key, very straight to the point finale, and I love that. I really love that. It's just very simple. But Jose, this, with a whole week of waiting for you, was this what you expected?
This was pretty much exactly what I expected. The good on battle between the Visions, Agatha, and Wanda. We even got some Billy Tommy action in there, and then Monica coming in to help out. Like, it was pretty much like an all-out battle against good versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty much what I really hoped for.
Yeah, this episode sort of reverts to the MCU style with what we would expect from the MCU. You know, CGI battles and one-liners and some heartfelt, funny moments and stuff like that. But what I think really does it for me is just because of the legwork that the season did with delving into each character and getting to know them, through this sort of wacky adventure. I can understand, I can see people being a little put off by this episode because of how standard fare it is compared to how super creative the other episodes are, tonally. Because this episode is just straight up CGI fight throughout. But how do you feel about that, Jose? Was it like a jarring tonal switch for you, or was this just what you wanted?
I gotta be honest, it was kind of more of leaning towards what I wanted. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every aspect of the previous episodes, especially the sitcoms, and figuring out why sitcoms. But I guess to me, it was like I really wanted that whole MCU goodness, that meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, I wasn't too bothered by it personally, even though I loved the style of the previous episodes more, admittedly. But I guess, yeah, just this episode, I just wanted to see Wanda and Vision fight for their family. And that's what, the previous episodes were building up to. And I honestly didn't mind that. And, sort of, and also learning more about Wanda and her powers, instead of just telekinetic and telepathy. It's also kind of important for Wanda to understand that she is a witch. She is using magic, and I think we've made a huge leap for her character. In the past movies, Wanda being in the MCU, she was sort of bogged down by rights and restrictions that you can only use the character this way and whatever. But now, seeing her fully as the Scarlet Witch, I think it's just super, super satisfying. What do you think about Wanda as the Scarlet Witch now?
It was an incredible experience to me. Like, seeing the whole transformation, the whole energy around her, and the outfit. Like you said, it was very not just spot on, but very elegant, very nice, very just great.
Yeah, I really love her outfit. Like it's not like, one for one from the comics. It's good that it's not one for one. Um, and just like I love it. I love it. Just finally seeing her as the Scarlet Witch instead of Wanda. You know.
Right.
I mean, like, Wanda's great and all, but like, come on, we're here for Scarlet. Like, we watch the Avengers movies, and seeing her, we want the Scarlet Witch. We don't just want Wanda. And finally seeing her that, and seeing her in future stuff dressed like that, I'm just like, hell yes, please, more of that. And with one Maximoff sibling, unfortunately, we still don't have the other. Pietro, that is one of the biggest misses, and almost want to say disappointment, but I'm not. I don't feel too disappointed with what happened. I feel like I should be more disappointed, but I'm not. I don't know. Am I in the wrong here? What do you think?
It's definitely a tough call. I would say in the middle. I don't know what the general public would be, but I feel like they would be around the middle as well.
I can feel a lot of X-Men fans being very disappointed right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we're referring to is that Pietro is actually just some guy. Yeah, like I think I said last week, I was like, it can't just be some guy, right? It is just some guy that just happens to look like Fox's Peter Maximoff. Remember, in the X-Men, he's not Pietro, he's Peter. Just to differentiate that from the Avengers Quicksilver. And his name is Ralph Boner.
Gosh.
I gotta say, that is my biggest gripe of the episode. I'm like, okay, that was a choice. I thought it was Bonner. But no, they're just like, Boner. I'm like, okay, I guess. Ralph Boner. I'll tell you, that is not a comic book reference of any sort. It's a bad joke, I'll tell you that. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's a bad joke. So, Ralph. No, not Ralph. Jose. Jose. Ralph, I'm so disappointed in you. Jose. About Ralph or Pietro. As you were watching, what were your thoughts before the reveal? What were you expecting?
I had not really any expectation for it. I was expecting more of I guess, a fight between, or at least an argument or some kind between Pietro and Monica, and it just kind of felt a little bit flat, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't. What's the word, or what is it called? It wasn't what I was expecting, even though I had no expectations, which I guess was a good way to go into it because it just didn't really line up for me.
Yeah, I had some expectations, like oh, this is like, Peter plucked from the multiverse, or that Agatha looked through the multiverse and just like, that's a Quicksilver. I'll pick that one and just conjure up a being that looks like Quicksilver. Yeah, I guess I was disappointed. I was more disappointed in the joke than than it not being, Peter. I don't know. I don't know how to take it really. Because I remember last week, just like on Twitter, just like some X-Men fans just like, oh boy, I can't wait for this episode to be like Peter wakes up from his trance, and then he has to save everybody in Westview, and that we have to do, and then we go through another speedster sequence, like similar to like X-Men Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, where everything is slow and Quicksilver has to go around and save people.
That would have been really nice.
That would have been cool. But one, I don't think they have the budget for it. Two, it's not him.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess like the question is why cast cast Evan Peters as Quicksilver if he's not Fox's Quicksilver? What do you think?
This could lead into the idea of the multiverse, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It also could just be a nod to the X-Men of Fox, which to me it feels a little bit more likely, but I'm really hoping for the idea of the multiverse.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's definitely like a nod, a wink to like the audience. Just like, yeah, we know what you're thinking. But also, I feel like it's kind of it kind of sucks for X-Men fans who first saw Peter or Pietro, whatever, pick one. What was it? Episode 4 or 5? When he was when he was first revealed. And everyone's excited. Oh, the possibilities, And then it just turns out that he's just Ralph Boner. I can definitely tell. As of this recording, I have not seen the internet's reaction yet. But I can imagine people are going to be very angry. Is like, why cast Peter Evans if he's not actually Peter Quicksilver? So yeah, I'm not sure myself. I still need to mellow in it myself before I have a final verdict on that. But I'll just say, kind of a bad call, for him to just be a joke character, in my opinion. What do you think?
I definitely agree with you. Like I said it before, it felt kind of flat, and then to find out he is, well, I guess he's the Ralph that Agnes has been mentioning in a way. It's kind of a bummer.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, he was Ralph. Okay.
Yeah, we finally got a reveal.
Yeah, I didn't catch that for some reason. It just went over my head. Yeah, that's kind of awful. Oh God, yeah. I think if he was the rabbit, I think I would have taken it better. Honestly, but whatever. C'est la vie. We can only hope. But with Antivision, his fate is sort of unknown right now. What do you think is going to happen with him? What are your theories?
My theory and hope is that Vision returns. I think, to be blunt about it, like seeing the eyes come back to Vision and then to Anti-Vision, and kind of sucks a little bit to see him just fly off and then who knows what happens next. I was hoping there would be a reunion with him and Wanda, and Wanda would recognize him as real Vision, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I think personally, I think it's important. Well, yeah, I would love to see what happened to Antivision. But I'm assuming he's Vision now because he has his memories back. But I think what's important in this episode for Wanda was for her to sort of accept her loss, her grief, and all of that, and with the Vision she knows, and that the Vision that she created from herself, and that's one of the theories that I was correct about. That this Vision is part of the Mind Stone. That's a part of her that she conjured up. And yeah, that final sequence of just the family returning to the house before the hex closes. How do you feel throughout that sequence?
Extremely sad about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, for a moment, I thought it was everything going natural, and then during the small sequence when Wanda looks into the window of Billy and Tommy's room and the hex is coming closer, I'm like, oh no, not now, not another field trip is gonna happen.
Yeah. God, that's just so sad. It's so sad. And just that goodbye is just so bittersweet, and it's just like WandaVision, more like, can Wanda get a fucking break? Yeah, it's but it was done so well. It was done so well, because this whole, like, as much as, like, the fans really wanted to blow this show out of proportions with their theories and what they wanted, like, Mephisto or Nightmare or what have you, like, some bigger threat. Maybe Ultron returns and comes back. Maybe Hayward is actually Ultron in disguise, or the Red Skull in disguise, or something. But no, this show is about Wanda's journey of grief and coming to terms with her grief and accepting her grief. And it's like, the 5 stages of grief, and that's what this whole season was, and we finally came to the last stage, was this acceptance. And I think there's just something beautiful about that. And yeah, with Vision crying is very important too, like the tear strand that came from his eye, because he's a robot, he doesn't have tear ducts. But that's also a reference to a comic book panel where, in the comics, where Vision did cry. Even a robot cried, So it sort of blurs the line. Is he human? Is he robot? So, yeah, beautiful, beautiful sequence. And I, as much as I love the MCU movies, I can't imagine seeing this in an Avengers movie, because, like, we spent so much time with the characters. I mean, like, with, like, Infinity War, like, when Vision died there, that was pretty sad. But I feel like seeing it here, it affected me more.
Right.
What do you think?
I can definitely see, like, what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the worst parts, well, I don't know if worst is the right word or not, but I think that makes it a little bit more sad is we see that Vision's journey throughout the whole show as well. Because he was a part of, like you said before, I think, the Mind Stone, that's part of Wanda. So it's like Wanda's, I don't know if interpretation would be the right word for it or not, but it's... this also explains why that Vision had no memories of, like, what an Avenger is or what happened to him. But it's a little bit bittersweet too, because he does care for Wanda, that we do see, like, and it's just his end was very, very well done, to be honest.
Yeah, and just them teasing that they'll be able to say hello again. It hits me, man.
that was a good soft spot for me too.
Yeah, it really hits me, because this whole show is what Vision said the last episode. What is grief but love persevering? And that's what the theme of this show is: grief. And yeah, just the decisions they've made with Wanda, I think they've done it very well, And I love the show coming out of it, really. But, like, let's because, with any Marvel thing, movie, show, there will always be some teases at the end of what's to come. So one of the important factors with Agatha was she had the Darkhold, which is a book, a spell book for forbidden magic and dark magic and stuff like that. And it's from hell. And it looks like something Doctor Strange would have. So, possible bridge for Doctor Strange? You think?
It's definitely one of the ones that I believe in. Another one is possibly, because we hear, I don't know if it was Billy and Tommy, or mostly just Billy, that we hear call out for Mom, in that very faint bit in the end. But I feel like Wanda would probably use the book to try to find a way to get her children back, in a way, or that somehow leads to the multiverse in a way.
Yeah, with with the end, the post credit scene, she has the Darkhold now. I think. She was reading that spell book, so I'm certain she's trying to find a way to bring her children back because maybe her children still exist, but they're with Mephisto now, perhaps. Again, I'm trying to drag in Mephisto as much as I can. But yeah, who knows? I know, Wanda is supposed to be in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi. Super excited to see that. But I think maybe Wanda, either Wanda's the sort of catalyst of what starts Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, or maybe she just has a small part. I'm not sure, but what are your expectations for Doctor Strange? Because people have just really been hyped up about it.
Yeah, I'm hyped up about it too. I think for my expectations, I think Wanda will have a little bit more of a bigger role. Probably I wanted to say as big as WandaVision, but she's definitely up there with Doctor Strange in terms of what they're going to do, which we don't even know because we don't have a teaser for it yet. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping for more horror, and I think that, this show delves in a little bit of that. Just a little psychological horror. I hope Doctor Strange goes full horror, especially with Sam Raimi behind the wheel. But let's talk about past theories that the internet and we've had, and how wrong we all were, blowing the show out of proportions. So, before going into the show, were you expecting something huge?
Not necessarily. Like, I was kind of going along with the show just to go along with it, but also as a Marvel fan, so it wasn't like anything super big. Like, I didn't have Mephisto as in my head like in the beginning of the whole show, but it wasn't anything like big expectation wise.
Gotcha. Yeah, same with me. I didn't think it would be anything big, but seeing this sort of scale of things as we go, Wanda's dealing with Wanda's magic and stuff like that, and then I think for me, my expectations grew was when I saw Quicksilver. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing it, great. And then that's when I started buying into more of the theories and just sort of going oh, what if. And though we do get seeds planted in the MCU, possibility of mutants, because Monica is still a thing, and people with abilities possibly, and I'm not sure, and yeah, I can't. I feel bad for the internet because it's been weeks and weeks of theorizing, and I've seen crazy theories, just big grand theories, and but not out of thin air. It all makes sense because the internet just likes to pick things apart and dissect things frame by frame, and I feel I feel sad for the disappointed fans that are just having what they have in their head, kind of coming out of it I wanted more, and I am kind of afraid that those fans will walk away from this show thinking that it's bad, or that it's disappointing because they didn't get what they want.
Yeah.
I think that also leads up to, because you remember Paul Bettany saying that he's finally working with an actor that he's always wanted to work with.
Yep.
For those you don't know, actually he's actually talking about himself with Antivision. What a shitlord he is. Me personally, I'm not that disappointed that he lied or that he tricked us. I think it's funny, but also at the same time, I can see people being very pissed about that, and kind of unfortunate. Kind of wish he didn't do it because I can see the reputation of this show lowering because of that. What do you think?
I kind of don't blame him for that, but at the same time, it was a little bit of a, well, not even a little bit. It was definitely a huge tease, and the fact that he was just referring to himself is just, I wouldn't call it a letdown just because I liked what I saw, but
Mm-hmm.
it it just was at the end a Marvel actor being a Marvel actor kind of.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And also, like, you remember those? I'm trying to still remember those theories, like, Mr. Fantastic, Reed
Oh,
Richards
right.
coming in. We still don't know who she was talking to, who Monica was talking to with her scientist friend. Guess it was nobody. Or maybe in a Fantastic Four movie, it's like, oh yeah, I talked to this woman, Monica Rambeau. I don't know. But yeah, with the post credit scenes, like Jimmy taking charge. Hopefully, we see him again because I love him to death.
Right.
Anything with Randall Park, I'm in for. So hopefully, either one, he gets a spinoff, or two, he's like the new Agent Coulson. You know, just sort of around. He's the normal guy, just helping superheroes. And yeah, at the end with Monica, she was able she was able to save the kids with her powers. Bullets passing through her, which is pretty awesome. Very Captain Marvel like. And at the end, one of the FBI agents was a Skrull, saying that a friend wants to see her. What do you think?
My immediate thought about that is it's Fury,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that she pointed up to the, I'm guessing the head sword base or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my main theory about that.
Yeah, most definitely, probably. Or maybe it's Captain Marvel. Who knows? But yeah, it's most likely Fury. And she's confirmed to come back for Captain Marvel 2. And I'm really interested in seeing more of Monica. I really want to see more of Monica and her relationship with Carol Danvers, and how that's changed. I can I can sense tension within that relationship, and I honestly can't wait to see more. You know. Um, so do you think she's going to be a superhero, Photon, the next time we see her?
I definitely can see that happening. I know we're definitely going to see more of her, not just from Captain Marvel, but probably throughout the MCU history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, with all our discussions, with the, bits of Easter eggs, MCU, yada yada yada. I guess the important question is, for this episode, was this a satisfying conclusion? What do you think?
I would say that it was. It was like, as I think I've talked about this already like a bunch of times before, but like the beginning kind of was dull for me for a little bit, but then it immediately ramped up. It was what I really wanted to see out of a Marvel show.
Yeah. So you'd say your expectations were met, right?
Yeah, they were definitely met.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This show surprised me. This show really surprised me. I didn't, when this show was first conceived and we only saw concept art, and just the title WandaVision, I'm like, that's a dumb name. And I just didn't pay any mind to it. And then when I saw, like, trailers and stuff, or, bits, I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I'm in for weird, but I didn't think much of it. I didn't think they would actually, like, use this as an opportunity to delve into Wanda's character and her grief. I mean, like, yeah, I'm not trying to, like, talk smack about Marvel, but, like, when it comes to, like, elements of like grief or whatever, it's usually played surface level. Because like for a movie, you only have so much time, especially with an Avengers movie when you're dealing with like a bunch of characters. You only have so much time with them. But seeing the show and just how carefully crafted it is, I'm very impressed. And with the conclusion that they went for, I feel satisfied, and I think this is a mature way to end the show. It's just about Wanda and Vision, and that's what's important. And I feel like as much as we wanted more from the show, like reveals and multiverse and X-Men and Mr. Fantastic, I think if there were stuff like that, I feel like in hindsight in watching this episode, I think it would really take away from the vision of this show, no pun intended. And it just would have been super distracting, and the internet would have been talking about, oh, did you see Mr. Fantastic tease, or like, oh shit, X-Men, and it would have distracted from Wanda, and Wanda is the star of her show, and with because we didn't get much time with her. Well, I mean, we got some, but it's, I wouldn't say with this level. This level of exploring a character, and for me, I think it works, and yeah, I'm glad that Marvel, the showrunners, had their vision and ran with it, and didn't worry about pleasing the audience with Easter eggs and fan drops and stuff like that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, as the more you pointed out just now, it was definitely more about Wanda than it had to be about the MCU's history. It was, I think, kind of required, but at the same time, just more like storytelling just of Wanda's character, that and her coming to this conclusion, as well as her realization of being the Scarlet Witch, that it was necessary for her story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as much as I wanted to see the multiverse or X-Men, yeah, it was really important to keep it about Wanda. And with the Easter eggs that we did have in the fan service that we did have, I think it's the good amount. But I can also understand how frustrated some fans are going to be with the whole Quicksilver thing. But yeah, for that one, I'm gonna have to sit with and come back next time and and talk about it. But okay, verdicts. But for WandaVision as a whole, would you recommend this show to people?
I would recommend it to people. Yes, to me, it's a highly recommend for any Marvel fan,
Mm-hmm.
and for probably the casual viewer, or looking for something to watch on Disney Plus while Mandalorian's on hiatus.
Yeah.
It's I would recommend it just because the show alone is really good in my opinion, and even if you don't get most of the Easter eggs or the hints, or to be honest, probably the show itself, I would still recommend it just because I think it's worth the watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely would recommend Marvel fans to watch this. It's just quality writing and pacing. I think the pacing in this show is great. I don't know if I would recommend it to a non-Marvel fan. I would love to, but also at the same time, it heavily requires a lot of prior knowledge with past MCU stuff. But they do go over that in the show through flashbacks and stuff. I'll have to do that experiment sometime to see if anybody else can get it. But I'll definitely keep everyone posted on that. But yeah, it's a definite recommend from me. I think the ending is a very mature one that they went with. Very bittersweet, and yeah, I'm very satisfied with my experience. Would you say the same?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm also very satisfied with our journey together, Jose. It's almost therapy, talking about the show every week with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, man, for going on this journey with me. I really appreciate it.
Yep, it was definitely fun for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. But, with the show ending, that doesn't mean we're going to go away. We'll be covering other stuff on 2FAST2MOVIE very soon. Other stuff is yet to be announced, but we will be covering Falcon and the Winter Soldier starting next week when that comes out. And also, for WandaVision fans, there is going to be a documentary coming out next week about the making of WandaVision. So I'm going to be digging into that next week.
Yeah, same here.
I'm really excited to see that. But yeah, that is the end for WandaVision. So thank you guys for tuning in every week and listening to what we have to say. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you next time on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, you can find us on most places you find podcasts and Spotify and Amazon Music. Our friends are covering Attack on Titans and with their conclusion. So be sure to check that out after you watch this. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, it's 2FAST2MOVIE.